I'm right now in a jungle, observing something very, very, very interesting. It's in its very natural habitat right now, so be quiet and observe over there, right? Okay, now we're gonna make a dash for it and try and grab it before it runs away. So watch this, okay?
Now with that adventure aside, I have a confession to make though. I am never a fan of SUVs simply because it's too big, it's too bulky, it's, well, pretty pointless here in Singapore, and it rolls a lot, and well, it's not exactly economical at all. Now, sorry if I sound like a Greenpeace activist, but that's a fact. And that begs a question. Why do we need a bloody SUV here in Singapore? But with the Volvo XC60, I'm kinda changing my mind a little bit. I am having a little soft spot for SUVs. But only the XC60 for now. This Volvo XC60 over here can potentially sway the minds of all you buyers who are in the market for an executive sedan. And let me tell you why. I'll start with the exterior first. The XC60 doesn't look like a typical SUV. It has bulging shoulder lines, a stylish face, and a rear that doesn't look like anything else. Dimension-wise, the XC60 is 4.6 meter long, 1.7 meters tall, and 1.9 meters wide. And that leads to a huge and practical interior. Okay, so no IKEA jokes here, please. It has the height of your typical SUV, but at the same time, the silhouette of a coupe, making it stand out particularly in the sea of SUVs you normally see in car parks. Open the door and you're welcomed into a seat that's comfortable, controls that are idiot-proof, and easy to read displays. Oh, and everything else is well screwed together in here. For the sake of convenience, the XC60 gets an electric tailgate as well, which opens up to a boot that is big enough to probably swallow the whole of Punggol. All that power is transmitted to all four wheels, pushing this 1.9-ton SUV from 0 to hero in a scanty 7.5 seconds, before it gets pushed to a limited 210 km per hour. So, how's that for an SUV? Impressive, eh? So what do you get under the bonnet? It is propelled by a 3-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged power plant, Mated to a 6-speed geartronic transmission, it produces a potent 285 brake horsepower. It also produces a maximum of 400 Newton meters of torque, which kicks in from as low as 1,500 RPM. Driven along the expressway, the XC60 feels very comfortable, which is surprising considering that it's an SUV that's rather tall. The springs are okay, some might find it's a bit too hard, a little bit too hard actually, but as a driver you'll appreciate it much more because you get a direct feel of the road. Speaking of feel, I must say that okay, the steering wheel is very communicative, but it can do with a little bit more weight, because honestly it's a little bit too light for an SUV this size. But one complaint I have for the XC60 is just how the cabin is easily intruded by wind noise. Now here's one very surprising fact about the XC60. It thinks that it's a hot hatch. It can handle corners very well. Now this is ironic. At the start of this review, I said an SUV is pretty much redundant, but somehow after spending some time with the XC60, I feel such a premium SUV like this makes much sense. It's hard to justify why you should get the XC60, especially after you consider the fact that the Audi Q5 3.2 is still cheaper than the XC60. But then again, the XC60 wins simply because it looks far sexier and stylish than the Q5. On top of that, you get a turbocharged engine here in the XC60 and also a far roomier interior. Okay, so if you do not need a full-fledged minibus like the XC90, then the XC60 is the one you should settle for.